What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Ed Gasket. Today's episode is all about cleaning up our Jeep Wrangler and getting it inspected. And I'm not talking about a normal inspection. I mean one where they're gonna look at the front end of this Jeep, all that work that we put into it, and tell us yes or no if we can ever drive it again. Of course, legally. Legally drive it again. We're driving it right now, but... So before we get to our 8 a.m. appointment at the inspection agency, I want to make sure this Jeep is clean both inside and out. We'll vacuum the inside and we will wash the outside so that by the time the inspectors get to our Jeep, they're going to look at it and say, this is a salvage title vehicle? I want this to be a no-brainer for them. I want it to be the first vehicle of the day. I want it to be a chip shot. So by the end of the day, we have converted our Jeep's title from salvage to reconstructed, which makes this Jeep less of a liability.
I am never going to financially recover from this.
Okay, so we are a little bit behind schedule, so what do you say we get this key in the ignition, R. Kelly style, and get over to the inspection station. Now, before you guys come along, do you think you can grab that camera? Thanks. All right, so we're here. Make sure that's shut. This is what the garage looks like. It looks a lot like every other garage you've ever seen. It just has the legal capacity to do enhanced inspections. Say goodbye to the Jeep. Good luck, buddy. Well, this is exactly what I expected the inside to look like after seeing the outside. All right, so they have all the paperwork that they're gonna need to do their job. So next time we see that Jeep, it should have a reconstructed title. So now we just gotta find our ride home. My wife told me she was coming, so. Any sight of her? Wow, there she is. She didn't forget me. Nice. Turn signal and all. Nice job, hon. All right, put this sucker in drive. Let's get out of here. I feel like they wait for us to pull away and then they just put a clean sticker on it and run the credit card. I wonder how involved it really is. Who knows? Either way, let us know when you're done, buddy, and I ain't coming back until that title's clean. All right, guys, I just got home literally a few moments ago and I already got the phone call that the Jeep is complete. So they must have really just swipe the card and put the sticker on, like I said, but it's all good. We don't ask how they do it. I just want to make sure that they actually do it. So let's go back to the automotive garage and pick up that Jeep so we can bring it home and celebrate. In the comments down below, let me know if your wife still drives you places. Are we honestly surprised that the Jeep hasn't moved at all? So for under 150 bucks, we're back on the road legally in Pennsylvania. All right, I know I said it's legal, but technically we're not quite there yet. I know, this whole salvage thing's a bit of a marathon, but as long as you know the steps, it can be a really rewarding process in getting one of these vehicles really cheap and bringing it back to life. Now, that mechanic approved our vehicle, and what he did is he sent information to the state of Pennsylvania. They will mail me my reconstructed title, and I will take that piece of paper and go to an auto tag or a notary and register this vehicle once and for all forever and bring it back to the road legally. Now, in the meantime, I want to finish the final repairs to make this thing 100% roadworthy. I mean, it's already there, but remember, I've replaced one of these fender flares and I want to do the rest of the vehicle. I had to wait on some hardware to arrive, but fortunately, while we were out, it did come in the mail. And of course, the last thing I want to do before this Jeep is technically finished, or at least ready for some upgrades, is a little bit of suspension work. Now, it's really hard to tell when I move the Jeep up and down, but what you're seeing is a loose sway bar link. So while we wait for that reconstructed title to arrive, which on my end could take a couple days, but of course on your side of things only takes about 3 seconds worth of editing, I'm going to install our sway bar link and the remainder of our fender flares. Okay, so that was harder than it looked, or perhaps it was exactly as hard as I made it look. This is a $20 part. This is the one that just came out. They're designed to come out in 5 minutes, go back in the same amount of time. Unfortunately, it took me about 10 times as long as it was supposed to because of this little piece. This thing is supposed to be round. I ground 2 flat faces into it so that I could put a wrench upon it and turn it out. It worked perfectly. Now, what was holding it in place is, well, 20 years of corrosion plus this little taper. You can see that this piece has a taper to it. It was designed by someone named Moores. Mr. Moores, thank you so much. This was impossible to get out. Your technology worked flawlessly. Also, Mr. Moores, thank you for inviting my wife out to the garage, because at 10 o'clock at night, if you swing the hammer enough times, someone is bound to join you. I just remembered something. If you look closely at this piece, there's a grease fitting on it. Now, I never get to use my grease gun because I don't get too involved in any sort of preventative maintenance. But this is a really cool grease gun. It hooks up to your air compressor, and then you just pull the trigger and it greases anything with that grease fitting. Oh, I don't have an air compressor right now. Forgot, I blew up the air compressor. I did that off camera. Yeah, air compressor blew up. And it was under warranty, so right now it's probably been 3 or 4 weeks. Where's that air compressor been? I gotta call that guy. Well, all right, so I'm not gonna grease this. It was designed to be greased, or at least I'm not gonna grease it right now. So as far as I'm concerned, my holiday on preventative maintenance continues. That would have been cool to use. Shoot. All right, remember I said it would take 5 minutes to go back in. Let's see if I can live up to that expectation. Now, the first question is, which direction does this thing go? Up we go. Sometimes I like to do voiceovers so that you don't have to hear me breathing while I'm trying to put things back together. Oh, that's what I was looking for. All right, new washer, new nut going on. That's always nice. That way the next buyer sees that you at least partook in some sort of maintenance program. No washer on the top. Interesting. Not worried over it. Put a wrench on it. Tight is tight, right? That's what, who said that? Vin Diesel. It was in a book somewhere. You can't see it, but behind the camera, I have a really nice torquing device, and I'm lying to you. As far as I'm concerned, torque is only important if someone's watching. And no one watches my YouTube videos, so I have nothing to worry about. Okay, so as I wrap up this last bit of our sway bar link update, I think I spent enough time trying to get that stud out that instead of having you watch me take the rest of the car apart, I'll just do a little tricky maneuver where I walk up to the car and shake the camera, and the car is inspected. And then I have this other nifty move where I walk up and I snap my fingers, and all of a sudden, those nice new fender flares have been installed. Hey everybody, it is the next day. I did spend most of the evening last night figuring out exactly what this Jeep cost me from start to finish. That means buying it at the auction, getting it trailered to our garage, all of the paperwork associated with the new titles and getting them shipped to the house, and lastly, of course, all of the repairs and parts associated with making this thing the way it is today. Now, my favorite part of all of these builds is figuring out if we can, in fact, for the first time ever, make a profit on one of our projects. And let's review all of those numbers, and then I'll show you exactly what I plan on retrieving for this Jeep Wrangler. So I paid Erie Insurance Company $6,000 for this Jeep Wrangler, which is crazy because just a few years ago, I bought a white version of this vehicle with larger tires, a lift kit, a clean title, and a manual transmission, and that only cost me $2,400, which shows you that interest in these vehicles is only going up, while the supply of super clean examples like this one right here is certainly going down. So I have nearly $600 in inspections and paperwork on this Jeep. The first round came when I had to transfer the title into my name, but unfortunately that title was salvage and that can't be used to drive a car legally. So you have to do all of your repairs, have an enhanced vehicle inspection station go through them diligently, and then you can reapply for your rebuilt title and then finally have a Pennsylvania safety inspection applied to your vehicle. So we're talking about a few inspections and a few titles just to get this thing sitting here legally. Now I spent about $400 on replacement parts for this Jeep, but all of those replacement parts were of course in the wrong color. So I had to spend $200 on red paint just to make it look the way that it does. So we're talking about $600 in parts and paint, and of course a whole bunch of free labor. Now, although it may seem tricky to figure out how much this car is worth, it's actually rather simple. All you have to do is go on Facebook, find yourself a respectable forum, in this case, plenty of Jeep Wrangler forums, and just ask. There are many people who have purchased, sold, or been through this whole retitling process and know exactly what you can obtain for a vehicle like this. And that's where I went. Within a few minutes, a few sources offered me their input, and I found that this vehicle is worth somewhere around $10,000 to $12,000. I feel like I'm missing... Oh yes, I spent $700 shipping this Jeep from the auction yard to my garage. Now that is a large number, and I think I kind of got ripped off there. But this was early in the rebuild process, and I was willing to spend that money. Today, if you asked me to ship this vehicle a couple hundred miles to Altoona, I would say I'd be willing to spend maybe $300 or $400. So that is money lost that I'll never get back, but it's all good. Is it really though? No, it's not. So if you or someone you know would like to buy this Jeep Wrangler, or if you just want to be a really good friend, be sure to subscribe to Ed Gasket and check out some other things taking place in the garage. Head over to Instagram at Ed Gasket Garage if you would like to roast me for my front end work, or just to tell me that I'm asking way too much for this Jeep Wrangler. I'd be happy to entertain all of your messages. Otherwise, guys, if you need us between now and the next time we fix something that's broken and make it less broken, we'll be in the garage.